Hello, hey. You're listening to Chickling Chronicles, the show where spooky meets story and mystery makes itself at home. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between urban fantasy, paranormal mystery, supernatural suspense, and all those other delightfully spooky genres people toss around? Well, let's talk. I'm your host, Courtney, paranormal mystery author behind The Missing Reflection, which is dropping this September 2nd. And I will admit that I'm not exactly a lover of haunted houses. I like my ghosts fictional, thank you very much. But I am obsessed with unraveling strange stories and chasing the what ifs that keep us turning pages. And today, I'll be your personal guide through the fog. Before we dive into today's episode, take a second to follow, subscribe, or like whatever your podcast app calls it. And if you love a good eerie vibe with a strong plot twist, drop a review too. It helps me so much. Okay, so picture this. A detective walks into a murder scene, unlike any other that they've seen before. It appears as though an animal has torn the body apart, but the house was sealed, and no one has located a dog or a cat in the residence. Who could have done this? Or there's blood everywhere, a few broken mirrors, but through the scent of copper and death, there's the faint scent of peppermint and the woods, even though the windows are shut. There are no signs of forced entry, and it appears the victim has not had any visitors. Yet, carved into the ceiling are symbols that weren't there this morning. That, my friend, is two examples that could be the beginning of a paranormal mystery. So today, what we're going to break down is, what exactly is a paranormal mystery? What elements define it? How is it different from the similar genres like horror, fantasy, or straight-up detective fiction? And why do we love it so much? Let's cue the ectoplasm so we can dive in. So, at its core, a paranormal mystery is a story that blends the logic of a whodunit with the strange, often eerie rules of the supernatural. You've got your sleuth, the professional or amateur, trying to solve a mystery. That part feels familiar. There's clues, suspects, maybe even a red herring or two. But there's also something beyond the veil involved. You have your typical vampires, werewolves, witches, ghosts, possessions, or even that inexplicable feeling that something is off in the air. The key word here is paranormal. This means something beyond the normal, things that science can't explain. But also, it's not full-on fantasy. There's no dragons, no epic sword quests, unless they're cursed swords, in which case, proceed. But paranormals tend to lean eerie, emotional, and uncanny. Let's break it down like a haunted recipe card. 1, there's the mystery itself. There has to be something to uncover, a death, a disappearance, an ancient secret. The plot is puzzle-driven. That's not to say you can't weave a tale where the story is driven by character growth, but alongside it is the drive to solve, figure out, connect the dots, etc. 2, the supernatural element. Something otherworldly must affect the story. It can be overt. Could be supernatural creatures, ghost whisperers, haunted objects, or it could be subtle with psychic dreams, cursed landscapes, the whisper of magical abilities. Ultimately, there must be something paranormal, supernatural, strange in the story. 3, atmosphere. Paranormal mysteries are all about the vibe. Fog, flickering lights, things creaking where they shouldn't. The setting is often a character of its own. Think crumbling mansions, forgotten woods, or an isolated town. The atmosphere must breathe a life of its own. 4, the rational meets the irrational. This one is not always present. Let's call it more optional than a hard rule. Yet, common in a paranormal mystery, whether it's a standalone or the first book in the series, there's usually a character, often the detective or a main protagonist, who's rooted in logic. They are the connection between you, the reader, and this new story you found. You'll read or watch as they grapple with the unexplainable, which creates tension and growth. 5, emotional undercurrent. This genre tends to tug at deeper themes: grief, legacy, fear of the unknown. We're not just solving a mystery, we're exploring why it haunts us. Let's take a look at some examples in book. The first example is The Family Plot by Sherry Priest. In this book, a salvage crew explores a crumbling estate, and of course, something or someone doesn't want them there. There's ghosts, family secrets, and a hidden room. Why does it fit? Because there's hauntings plus an investigation. This equals textbook paranormal mystery. Then we have The Graveyard by Neil Gaiman. A boy raised by ghosts in a graveyard tries to uncover the truth about his family's murder. Why does it fit? Well, there's a paranormal world building, plus a coming-of-age mystery and gothic charm. Definite paranormal mystery. Last book example is going to be Lock and Key, which technically cheating a little bit here because it's a graphic novel series by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez, but I love it. So this is a story where a family returns to their ancestral home after a tragedy and discovers magical keys and something waiting in the dark. Why does this fit? This is a mystery-driven plot. You combine that with the haunted house element and the rich supernatural mythology, and you have a paranormal mystery. So for those who aren't in love with reading, which I hope you are, there's also movie examples. We'll begin with The Sixth Sense. This is a 1999 film where a child psychologist tries to help a boy who claims he sees dead people. Well, why does it fit? There's emotional depth, plus a compelling mystery with M. Night Shyamalan's typical twist. This wraps the story into a haunting paranormal show. There's also The Others, a 2001 film with a mother and her children living in a secluded house where strange things begin to happen and nothing is what it seems. Why does this fit? There's a creeping dread, a ghostly presence, and a central mystery to uncover. Lastly, let's look at The Conjuring. This is a film that would typically classify under horror. However, 2021's The Devil Made Me Do It feels a bit more like a paranormal mystery. But within the Conjuring stories, these are all about a paranormal investigator delving into sensational cases, trying to solve a problem. Yes, there are demonic possessions, murders, and everything else. But throughout the movies, all the recipe card boxes are checked for paranormal mystery. So, do you want to play a game? There are some memory genres to the paranormal mystery, but can you spot the difference? Ready? Let's go. Question 1. A detective investigates a string of murders in a small town. Clues point to a centuries-old curse, and the ghost of one victim keeps appearing in the mirror. What genre is this? The answer? It's a paranormal mystery. There's a core mystery, murder, paired with supernatural elements, the ghost and the curse. And the story is going to be driven by solving that puzzle. Question 2. A woman moves into an old house and slowly begins losing her grip on reality. Shadow figures follow her, but we're not sure if they're real or just in her head. She's reaching out for help, trying to explain to her ex-husband that she's not crazy, as the shadow figures escalate from doing more than just following her. One day, she disappears, left to be a shadow herself. What genre is this? Well, I'm going to go with horror. This one leads into fear and psychological dread. The supernatural elements exist to terrify, but not really to be solved or explained. Next, question 3. A bartender in a gritty city discovers she has magical blood. She joins an underground group of magic users battling demons on the subway. Genre? If you said urban fantasy, you would be correct. This one's about magic in a modern urban setting. There's action and supernatural powers, but it's not built around a mystery. Question 4. A man wakes up every night at 3:33 a.m. with blood on his hands and no memory of what happened. The story follows his descent into paranoia as he tries to uncover what's haunting him and why is he the target. Guess the genre. Supernatural suspense. This would be considered mystery adjacent because the focus is on the tension and psychological unraveling rather than following clues in a classic mystery structure. Last one, number 5. A librarian with psychic abilities uses visions to help police find a missing child. Along the way, she discovers the town's chilling past and a vengeful spirit connected to the case. What do you think this genre is? This is paranormal mystery. Psychic powers, a missing child, a historical secret, and a ghost. That's the full spooky toolkit. So, how did you do? Did you get them all right? Did you miss one and want to argue with me? Totally fair. But the truth is, these genres can overlap a lot. But there are sometimes slight differences that help us better appreciate how these stories are built and maybe even write one of our own. When you're looking at paranormal versus horror, horror's intent is to terrify you. It's about fear first, and the mystery may or may not be solved. Paranormal mystery, though, wants to intrigue you. It might creep you out or terrify you, but it's all in service of the discovery for the mystery. There are also things called paranormal mysteries and cozy mysteries. One thing to know is cozy mysteries are adorable. There's often tea, one central mystery occurring, and no blood. Paranormal mysteries can be cozy, but depending on the author, they can also be creepy. They can touch on a supernatural layer that cozies don't. In a paranormal mystery, there can be blood, mayhem, and lots of murder. Then you have the paranormal mystery versus sci-fi mystery. Science fiction relies on futuristic logic or tech. Paranormal doesn't explain itself. It kind of just is. You're not trying to reverse engineer a ghost. You're trying to survive it. And lastly, we'll briefly touch on paranormal versus fantasy because, let's be honest, these two genres love to borrow each other's homework. Paranormal and fantasy often share overlapping traits. Supernatural beings, check. Magic or mystical forces, another check. A sense that something bigger or unseen is at play, a definite check. Both genres ask readers to suspend disbelief and explore the impossible. You might find a clairvoyant in either or stumble across a haunted forest in both. But the key difference tends to lie in the setting, the tone, and the scope. Looking at the textbook definitions, not diving into subgenres, but looking at fantasy as the Lord of the Rings type novels, in these stories, you're going to tend to see that they've built worlds apart from our own. There are dragons, spell-casting wizards, enchanted swords, and kingdoms at war. Paranormal stories can be a bit grounded in our world. This is Earth, but with an eerie layer peeled back. The supernatural here is often uncanny and mysterious. They shouldn't be real, but they are. Okay, here's the juicy bit. Why do people love these stories, especially now in a world that's already confusing enough? Well, to begin, they're safe thrills. With these stories, you get to feel fear, but in a fun way. You can choose to close the book or turn off the show, and poof, the ghost stays in the story. There's also this unknown that is weirdly comforting. With a paranormal mystery, it offers the idea that there's more out there, more than what we can see, that the lost loved ones might not be fully gone, that fate, karma, or something ancient is at play. But for some, that can be comforting. 3, they're just so good. There's secret tunnels, dusty journals, cryptic messages, haunted heirlooms. Paranormal mysteries are like literary escape rooms. We get to investigate, to theorize, and to gasp at the twist. Next, there are some emotional layers. Many paranormal mysteries explore grief, guilt, and healing. These ghost stories aren't always the monsters. It's sometimes a metaphor or a memory or your own regrets. And then they're built for binging. Whether it's a novel series or a limited TV run, these stories are designed to hook you. Let's think about The Haunting of Hill House, Lock and Key, or even Only Murders in the Building. Well, if you added a ghost or two. But these stories are ones that you don't want to see stopped. So, are you now obsessed? Did you discover that you liked your mysteries with a twist of the strange? Maybe you want to be creeped out, but still sleep at night. Or you just want to enjoy a layered story where the setting might kill you or save you. Well, then paranormal mysteries might just be your new favorite genre. And if you're already a fan, you're in the right place. But that's it for today's show. And if you like this little journey into the weird and wonderful, go ahead and hit those buttons we talked about earlier, the subscribe, like, follow. And hey, leave a review and tell your bookish besties or your ghost besties, we don't judge here, all about the show. Also, if you're looking for your own good paranormal mystery, check out my book, The Missing Reflection, available for pre-order on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and all the other online sites where books are sold. You can also check out my website, www.courtneyhickling.com, or follow me on all the socials. All the links are in the episode description. Tune in for the next episode where we are discussing the book adaptations that created the summer blockbuster. Hint, it involves a huge shark. Until then, trust your gut, question the creeks, and keep writing your own mystery. See you in the next chapter. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Chickling Chronicles. Make sure you like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss a story or a conversation. See you next time.